We're continuing our Conservatory Canada Theory 1 lesson, pages 76 to 80. So we've gone through an ascending scale and a descending scale, and we're now moving on to page 77. The top is a continuation of question 3, writing the scale descending only, marking the semitones with a slur. Quick reminder, we draw the notes backwards. So for F major, it's going to go to the far end, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. Then I get to use whole notes there, and I make sure to check that it's following the pattern of tones and semitones that make the F major scale. Big thing here, key signatures. The number of sharps or flats in a scale identifies that scale. It's like a signature. No two major scales have the same number of sharps or flats. For example, the scale of D major has 2 sharps, F major has 1 flat, and so on. The word key refers to the letter name of the tonic of whatever scale we are using. When the piece uses the scale of D major with 2 sharps, we say that it is in the key of D major. In a piece of music, all the sharps or flats that are needed to write the scale of that key are placed together at the beginning of each staff. This group of sharps or flats is called a key signature because, just as our written signature identifies us, a key signature identifies the scale or key of the piece that you're playing or singing. Each accidental in a key signature affects its note throughout the entire piece, so there is no need to place sharps or flats immediately before each note in the music. So it says, let's compare the scale of G major, first using accidentals, then using a key signature. We just did the scale of G major a moment ago, found out that G major required an F sharp. So it went G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. With a key signature, after the treble clef, the F sharp is written on the top line. Every good boy deserves fun. On the top line right there. And you'll notice that 7th note, we did not add an accidental to the F to make it an F sharp. The key signature, it says with the key signature, no accidentals are necessary. So you can do this on your own. Play each example on a keyboard. You will notice that although each example is written differently, the sound is exactly the same, provided that you remember that F sharp there. The key signature means that every F in the score, no matter at which octave, must be played as F sharp. Very, very important. Key signatures are always placed the same no matter what they are. We would never draw the F sharp in the first space for face. We always draw the key signature for the F sharp in the treble clef on the top line. It never, ever changes. Over the page to 78. On page 78, we have something here called the circle of fifths. And I'm going to show you a little trick that I use with this circle of fifths as well. The circle of fifths shows the number of flats or sharps in each major scale. So this is very handy. You may wish to refer back to it. Draw a circle, begin at the top of the key of C major. We're not going to actually do this. I'm going to show you something different. No sharps or flats. Sharp keys, we go to the right, clockwise around the circle by counting up 5 notes from C, C, D, E, F, G. Then we go up another 5, G, A, B, C, D, and other 5 notes for the next key with 2 sharps and so on. For flat keys, we work the exact opposite, C, B, A, G, F, F, E, D, C, B. So every note is 5 notes away. So I'm going to show you my trick. I'm going to do it on page 80 because that is our page that we have a little bit of work down. So I'm going to write the following letters on page 80. F, C, G, D, A, E, B. So these letters are all going to sound a little weird, but I have a little saying I like to remember this with. Father Charles goes down and ends battle. Let's say it together. Father Charles goes down and ends battle. One more time. Father Charles goes down and ends battle. Now, when I'm figuring out key signatures, I need to know what major scale has 0 sharps or flats. And the scale that has 0 sharps or flats is the scale of C major. I put a circle around the C, just like this. That circle represents the number 0. C major has 0 sharps or flats. We just were talking about clockwise and counterclockwise, but I think of how sharps and flats move on the keyboard. Sharps move to the right on the keyboard. Flats move to the left. So what I'm going to do above the C, I'm going to write a little arrow pointing forward with a sharp. That looks like this. And underneath the C, I'm going to draw a little arrow pointing to the left. And of course, a little flat. So now I have my, what I call my key signature helper. And it looks just like that. Here's how easy it actually is. If C major has 0 sharps or flats, the next one over, G major, has 1 sharp. We know that. It has F sharp. We just did it twice. D major has 2 sharps. A major has 3 sharps. And E major has 4 sharps. And that is as far as we go in theory 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Likewise, I do the same on the flat direction. It means that I have to start at the end of the line and then cross over. So under the F, I write a 1. Under the B, I write a 2. Under the E, I write a 3. And under the A, I write a 4. And it looks something like that. This is extremely handy because you will be able to draw this on your rough work to be able to know what your key signatures are if in any doubt. Of course, I'd love for you to have them all memorized, but if you don't have them fully memorized and you are just not 100% sure, this tool will help you again and again. Okay, so let's go back now quickly just to wrap up our lesson. So let's go back to page 79. So we have writing key signatures. This hints page is extremely helpful because if in doubt, every key signature has been written for you. You literally just copy at the bottom of the page. Key signatures are placed just to the right of the clef sign and before the time signature. I call it the CKT. And I'm going to write that here, CKT. I'm going to show you what I wrote here. The CKT, clef, key, time signature. That's how I remember it. So, they must appear on every staff throughout the piece. So time signatures only once at the beginning of a piece, but key signatures every single staff if we're writing a piece. Bar lines do not cancel out sharps or flats in the key signature like accidentals would have. The key signature usually remains the same throughout the piece unless you change it to another key. Key signatures, we've talked about this before, will be either sharps only or flats only. There are no key signatures that contain both sharps and flats. Sharps or flats in a key signature are written on the staff in the same order as they were introduced in the circle of fifths. Here's a memory aid for the order of sharps. Ah, I see it. Father Charles goes down and ends battle. And guess what? You can say it entirely backwards and it kind of makes sense too. Battle ends and down goes Charles' father. But here's what I remember. The order of sharps is always F, FC, FCG, FCGD. I circle those 4 letters there. It never changes. If there's 2 sharps, it has to be FC. You can't have FG. It has to be FC. If there's 3, it has to be FCG. If I write the order of flats, instead of writing battle ends and down goes Charles' father, and I write B-E-A-D, I actually get a word. We get the word bead, and the order never changes no matter what. Now, this hint right here is something that you can refer to every time. Key signatures are placed the same on every piece. F sharp must be on the top line in the treble clef and the 4th line in the bass clef. We would never draw the sharp in any other place. For the same goes for flats. This is exactly what the key signatures look like. And if in doubt, get to one of your pieces that you're playing or singing. Take a look at the key signature. You will see it matches. We never write the key signatures differently along the way. If you are in doubt, you can always look here because as I look at page 80, it says name the key. So I have options.